Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fantastic Mr. Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the 96th Academy Awards, almost at 100. So sit back, relax, and let's look at some actors in leading roles and best pictures and shorts and other awards. So I'm here with my two lovely co-hosts. What are your names again? Zach Briggs and Jerome Jake Kramers, and I am Justin Strange. Say hello, guys.
What's up?
I love that you called us lovely and then immediately forgot our names.
Yep. That's the way.
Lovely he is, Justin. The father of the podcast, which he hates that term.
Yeah, I don't like being the father of anything. I don't have kids.
Damn.
Like, I'm trying to avoid fatherhood.
So let's start off with talking about what we're drinking today. I'll start. I am drinking a vodka soda called The Pack, and the flavor is spicy melon Rita. It's actually from Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's got 9% alcohol, so if I start slurring my words, you know why. But it's they're really good. They are kind of strong, but the spicy melon Rita is super good. What about you, Jake? What are you drinking?
I am drinking This Is the Way from Prairie Artisan Ales. It is a barrel-aged imperial stout with notes of dark chocolate, toasted coconut, marshmallows, and almonds. And this baby is 13.6.
Jesus.
13.6.
No wonder it sounds like you're already drunk.
ABV. And I have not eaten today, so I will be slurring in this podcast.
All right, Zach, tell us what you're drinking.
Nothing fancy, just Sam's purified drinking water. With flavor enhancing minerals. This hails all the way from Bentonville in Arkansas. My previous stomping grounds. Not exactly
Walton
Bentonville,
Love,
but I was in Little Rock. Yeah. I've been to Bentonville once, and it was a nice, picturesque town. It looked like it could be used for movie sets.
So I did that on purpose because Zach's drinking water, and I thought it'd be funny. I've been to Bentonville once as well for the Bentonville Film Festival, and it was really cool. The whole festival was. It's the one that's run by Gina Davis. Me and a buddy went. It was really cool. And yeah, you're right. It's very we went to this it's like really hipster bar, right? Because we were just out, and so we went to this bar and we got a couple drinks, and then we got these little steamed bun sandwich things. They were super delicious. They were really freaking good. I was like, man, I hate that I'm in a hipster bar, but golly, this food is good.
Well, you're in Bentonville, and there's nothing but hipster bars in Bentonville.
I went to.
I know that because I live up here, and I go there all the time.
Yeah, it was really cool though. I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. Yeah. And their food was.
You guys should go together to the film festival.
That'd be cool.
Do a little vlog or something.
The problem with film festivals, real quick, I know we got to talk about the Oscars, but they're expensive. They're expensive as balls, and you can't for me, I just can't afford a ticket to a film festival unless I'm going for a day, and I don't want to go for a day. I want to go for several days.
Make it worthwhile.
But what is the Oscars but the biggest film festival in all of Hollywood?
It's an award show. It's just one big award show. Now, what would be cool if they had a film festival the week before the Oscars.
That would be cool. I was trying to give you a sweet, lead in, but you just shit all over that.
You just took it so literally.
I did because it's not a
steaming pile of dump.
It's not an award. It's not a film festival. It's an award show.
It's okay. Just move on.
It's a celebration of.
It is
film.
A celebration.
Just call it that. And so are film festivals.
Well, some people could also call it very political, but we're not going to get into that discussion. Okay, let's talk about it. So let's look at a little bit of last year's stuff real quick, just to kind of refresh our memories, if that's okay with you guys. Just quickly, I'm just going to kind of go through the winners of each category, and then we'll go into the 96th. Okay, so we have actor in the leading role. Without looking, do you guys remember who won? We just talked about
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
And
Brendan
that was a
Fraser.
monumental time
That was a
for
monumental for him,
Brendan for sure.
for
Yeah, 'cause he's
sure.
been out for so long.
It
I
was,
think the last time I'd seen him in something before The Whale was in the movie or the TV show
Scrubs.
Doom Patrol.
Oh,
for
yeah,
me.
Doom Patrol. I forgot about Doom. Yeah, it was Doom Patrol for me too. So yeah, Brendan Fraser won. And that was really, really great time for like not just Brendan Fraser, but like I was really excited that he won. And actually, one of my buddies who loves Brendan Fraser because he was in Scrubs, was really excited that he won. So I was,
It's a
I'm
great
glad.
comeback story for Brendan
Absolutely.
Fraser, who had been struggling for years.
Well, yeah,
with,
for reasons that we
many
won't go into,
reasons.
but yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have actor in a supporting role. Do you guys remember who won?
Not
You want me
me
to tell you?
personally.
Short
Yes, tell us.
round. Short round one.
Oh yeah.
Ki Hai Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, actress in a leading role was also from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is Michelle Yao, Yeoh. It's either Yao or Yo, but
I believe I believe everything got a lot.
a lot of awards. Oh well, here, hang on. Actress in a supporting role. Do you know who won? Remember who won that one? Did you guys watch the Oscars last year, or am I the only one?
Flips.
It was Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She was so funny in that movie. Okay, animated feature film went to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which was a really good movie, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, I was really going for Marcel the Show with shoes on, but you know what are you gonna do?
Is
Oh,
it still on
love that film.
Netflix or no?
Yeah, it's a Netflix original.
I have to check it out then. I think it's on my list.
It's a good one, and it's on the Criterion Collection. I really want to own the.
Then get it. Get it.
Hey,
Get
don't
it
tell me
tonight.
what to
Order
do.
on Amazon.com.
No.
We're
Okay.
not sponsored by Amazon, by the way.
But Amazon, if you want to sponsor us, we'll totally take your money. And we'll mention you every single time. Cinematography. Remember who won? I figured Zach might remember.
Yes. All Quiet on the Western Front.
All Quiet on the
You
Western.
gave me when you mentioned that, because you said Zach, you might know it. It brought
You triggered
memories
your
of
memories? Yeah.
that movie.
That
Yeah, it triggered my
movie,
memories.
it was really good, and it was really awesome to see it in theaters. I loved
That's
it.
the way I first saw it, and I saw it again on my little TV. But yeah, that whole
My
beginning
little
shot,
TV.
that little beginning shot of the animals was so symbolic, and then it eases into the shot of the battlefield and just into the trenches coming across as a one-shot take. That whole movie was very
And
good.
then-
It was one of the best war movies I've seen.
And then Wonder Woman showed up and killed everybody.
We could splice in some of the
Yeah.
Wonder Woman scenes into All Quiet on the Western Front. I think the aesthetic.
I think
still
it would.
fits, for
I was
sure.
to say, I think it would go pretty well.
Firstly, it's World War One, and the color grading
Yeah.
pretty similar too.
Mhm. So costume design. Do you remember who that was?
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say everything everywhere.
No, it was Black
That-
Panther. Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther.
Oh, that's right,
Okay.
because everyone was up in arms. It was like a Disney film that got recognition.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Directing. All right, Jake. Now it's your turn. Directing.
Jeez,
You just said it.
I'm gonna assume everything everywhere.
Yeah, everything everywhere all at once.
Which wasn't that one of their that was like one of their first feature films, correct?
I think so. I don't think those two guys have been doing very much before this. Documentary feature film was a movie called Navalny. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah. By the way, boys, again, brief history is basically one of Putin's highest profile opposition leaders, basically
Oh,
denouncing
that's-
everything to do with Putin. He recently was discovered dead in a penal colony prison situation. So there's a lot of speculation of how he was killed, or rumors of Putin ordering his death. But just again, we're not going to get into that. But still, I think that was a scene. I think I remember seeing that on CNN, watching that documentary. But again, came out last year. It was pretty timely. And
You mean
again,
the
if you
year
like
before
that type
last.
of thing, if you like that type of thing about Russia and the opposition, it's a great film about
And
a
penals.
figure. Yeah, and penal colonies. Yeah.
Penal. Okay. Documentary short film was The Elephant Whisperers, which I didn't see that, but I do remember like seeing like a clip of it. I think I saw like a trailer for it or something. It looked pretty interesting. Film editing, Jake.
Everything everywhere.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is Paul Rogers edited that movie. International feature film. Zach?
Is that Parasite? Or was that
All Quiet on the
All
Western Front.
Quiet on the Western Front. Yep.
The 2022
Yeah.
version. You
Okay.
guys saw Jake? You saw that movie too, or All
unfortunately
Quiet?
no.
Oh man,
No.
it's so
Oh,
good.
it's on-
You should watch it.
it's on
It's on
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. Okay. Makeup and hairstyling. Anyone want to take a guess? Oh my God.
Everything everywhere.
No, it was The Well.
No, it was the whale. Oh, that makes
Really?
sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That
The
makes
Well.
Oh, I
sense.
guess
I
for the prosthetic, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Oh
thinking,
man. I
I was
remember
thinking of clothes.
when he stood up for the first time. I mean, it kind of. I mean, it was
Blast
kind of
in the room.
scary. Yeah, it was
How
kind
tall
of.
is he anyway, Brendan? I feel like he's above
Oh,
6
it's
foot
probably
for sure.
yeah, I'm sure he's over
But
6
and the
foot.
angle of it really helps as well.
Well, and the fact that he was wearing a gigantic fat suit.
I mean, it's just like when they shoot those commercials for fast food, it looks so immaculately delicious the way that they pristinely
They-
assemble these burgers and
that aren't
the
real.
fries. Yeah,
Like,
and
a
it's
lot
like
of that stuff
obviously fake
is-
food,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it makes it look bigger. And then
Yeah.
you buy it, go through the drive-through or whatever, Uber Eats it, and it this little thing.
Uber Eats. Okay. The original score, original score. Why don't we guess? Zach?
Give us some options.
Okay, it was either Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Ever All at Once, The Fablemans, or All Quiet.
I don't know.
Banshees.
What'd you say, Jake?
Banshees is what I'm saying.
Banshees has a really
Okay.
good score. I actually just watched that movie.
So good.
I'll say
Yeah.
All Quiet.
It's All Quiet.
I remember
It
it was
should have
very
been Banshees.
it was an odd score, but
No,
it
it
really
was.
fit.
I think I liked All Quiet's score a lot better than Banshees, just because it was like it was kind of scary.
Meow,
It's
meow. It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
cool.
Well, I
Remember
haven't seen
that?
it, so I guess I can't have any.
Okay.
You know how you know how some movies like especially in the 80s and 90s you're reminded that it was an 80s created film when they include certain musical qualities about it. It's like, oh shoot, now I'm watching an 80s movie. I forgot.
Synth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
synth. I
Synth.
feel like that some of that was brought to
Like
All
Stranger
Quiet.
Things.
Yeah, I think some
Yeah,
of that was
I
brought
agree.
to All Quiet.
It didn't sound 80s or anything, but it did sound synthesized for sure.
Yeah, but it was just like different. It's like in the 40s and 50s, if you made a movie like that, you wouldn't hear something as
Okay.
exotic as that.
Music original song. We either have Applause from Tell It Like a Woman, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up from Black Panther, This Is Alive from Everything Everywhere, or Natu from RRR.
I know this one because it's a great film, and you haven't seen it. You need to see it. It's
Haven't seen
Natu.
Yeah, it is Natu.
Natu. It's a fantastic.
It's a
like
Bollywood film, isn't it?
it's I actually think it's technically a Zollywood.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not Bollywood.
It's from pre-independent
It's
India.
not. I don't think it's.
Fearless warrior on a perilous mission comes face to face with a steely cop. Well, that's just the setting of the movie. That's not to say where
Yeah.
it's from, or where it's shot at. Okay, we can look it up later, or you can look it up while I'm talking, and then let us know if you want. Okay, and then best picture. I think we already talked about it. Is Everything Ever All at Once. So we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen Triangle of Sadness yet, you should watch it. It's
That's the one with the boat, right?
yeah, and Woody Harrelson's in it. It's really funny. Women Talking, which is also a great movie, by the way. And then All Quiet on the Western Front, which Everything Everywhere, which one? They have production design, and we have either Avatar, Babylon, Elvis, Fablemans, or All Quiet. Anybody want to hazard a guess?
What was the question? What design?
Production design. Avatar, Babylon, Elvis, Fablemans, or All Quiet.
All Quiet.
All Quiet, yeah. Although I did like Elvis's production design.
Baz Luhrmann and his over exotic
Yeah.
MTV style.
That's okay. It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Elvis is like
It-
quickly. Elvis was. It was a pleasant surprise, like I went in there because it was Oscars week. I was trying to watch all the Best Picture noms, and Elvis kind of. I was like, I don't really want to see this movie, but I watched it. And Austin Butler, I thought he did a great job as Elvis. Like I thought
He
I
still
think
hasn't gotten out of that little accent of his, though. It's taken him ages.
that's
Unless
funny.
you see, if you in Dune Part 2, then he's gone out of that
He
little
looks a
twang.
little. It looks a little more crazy in Dune Part Two. Okay.
Yes.
Then we have short film animated, which was The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, or An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I think I believe it.
My year what?
My Year of Dicks. It's about a girl who is trying to get laid. Yeah.
Never
Dicks like
seen.
penises.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
But it also could mean dicks like
For our listeners, I was miming the
a blowjob. He was miming a blowjob.
blowjob.
It also could mean like her year of like dicks, like men
With
who
bad
are
people.
dicks. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
because
many meanings.
she ends
Could
up
do that.
if I remember correctly, she ends up falling for her best friend by the end of the movie, which is a
Of
dude.
course she does.
Yeah,
Which
which
is
is a dude.
wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie, and like it was funny because right before this movie, it was the very last one, and right before it said this one is not for kids. And so they were like, so we'll give you time to get your kids out of here, because they did it last before the live action short film ones, because there was going to be an intermission as well. And so they did that one last, and they were like, if you have kids, get them out of here because this isn't for them. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse one, which actually that was a really sweet story, like sweet as in like nice. But they were all really good. Like every single one of them, I really, really, really enjoyed. If you haven't seen Ice Merchants, it's on YouTube. It's a 15-minute short film, animated, and it's really good too. Okay,
Awesome.
short film live action. We have An Irish Goodbye, Evalu, Le Pupil, which is French, Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. And I'm just going to tell you, it was An Irish Goodbye that one, which is a really cute film about two brothers who lost their mom, and one of the brothers has Down syndrome, and he really just wants to stay on their mother's farm, so he goes to kind of great lengths to keep his brother there too. It's really cute. The Red Suitcase was also very interesting. Then we have sound from last year: Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet, Avatar, Batman, or Elvis. Anybody want to guess?
Jake, you guess.
Sound?
Top Gun,
Like-
All Quiet,
like-
Avatar, Batman, or Elvis. Yeah, sound.
It's gonna be Top Gun for me.
Like sound design.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably say Top Gun as well.
Yeah, it was Top Gun. Nice job. Visual effects: All Quiet, Batman, Black Panther, Top Gun, or Avatar.
Oh, that's Avatar.
Yeah, it was
Easy.
Avatar. Okay. Writing, which is an adapted screenplay. We have Women Talking, All Quiet, Glass Onion, Living, or Top Gun.
I'm stumped on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to just tell you? It was Women Talking.
Mm.
Great film. Great film. And then original screenplay: Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Fablemans, Tar, Triangle of Sadness.
I mean, I know this one. It's everything.
Yeah, it's Everything Everywhere. Yeah, totally. Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Now that we've gone through all
2024.
those, let's head over to 2024. All right, so I want to do Best Picture last. We'll talk about that one very last, even though it's not the last one in this list. I'd like to talk about it last, if that's okay with you guys. So we'll start with actor in the leading role. We have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Is it Cillian or Killian Murphy?
Killian.
Killian, okay.
Killian.
Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. What are your guys' predictions?
I'm gonna
What do you
say
do?
Mr. Murphy.
What do you think? Who do you think's going to win? Yeah, I would
I think
think.
it's gonna be Killian Murphy's gonna win, but I believe, based on the movies I've seen, that Paul Giamatti should win.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
I also am kind of partial to Jeffrey Wright. I do like him a lot.
Oh yeah,
I was
he's
gonna say
fantastic.
I agree with Zach. I think Cillian Murphy will probably get it, but Jeffrey Wright probably deserves it.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Like, I think the first thing I saw him in was a movie called Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal,
Jake Gyllenhaal's so good.
which is a great movie. I don't care for Jake, and we talked about this, and I've told you
Yeah,
my
we have.
feelings on Jake Gyllenhaal, but don't care for the actor.
movie.
But that movie was great.
Great.
Yeah, I
and-
first saw Jeffrey Wright in the series 1920s Prohibition series called Boardwalk Empire.
Oh,
Wright
yeah.
was in that.
I
Fantastic.
had an ex. Well, she wasn't really my girlfriend, but she was somebody I was seeing for a very long time that really liked that show. She actually suggested. I never watched it though.
Stephen Buscemi is fantastic. He's brilliant.
Man,
He's
that's
the main
crazy.
protagonist. Yeah.
Nobody Nobody ever says Steve Buscemi is brilliant.
He's
Not
awesome.
not saying he's not, but I don't know. Steve Buscemi, I don't think gets the credit he probably deserves.
Yeah.
Okay, actor in a supporting role. We have Sterling K. Brown, which I don't know who that is, for American Fiction. Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling for Barbie. Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things.
RDJ Oppenheimer, where you
Do you
played
think?
that guy that was basically trying to
Yeah, he
ruin
kind
the
of.
reputation of Oppenheimer.
Well, he kind of seemed like he switched sides in the middle of the movie, right?
Ross.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you think he's gonna win, or you want him to win?
I want him to win.
Who do you think
I-
is gonna win?
Robert
Robert De Niro? Yeah, I agree.
Robert Downey, Jr.
Jr. Oh, okay, you think
Yeah.
he's gonna win. I kind of think Robert De Niro might win. But I kind of would like it to go to Ryan Gosling because I really think, and this is gonna sound horrible because like Barbie was like a kind of a pivotal movie for women, you know?
It was a
So-
feminist film for sure.
Yeah, but Ryan Gosling stole the show to me.
Yeah. Which is ironic.
It's very like I was like, I don't like, yeah, Margot Robbie's a great actress, but man, Ryan Gosling, when he wants to be funny, he can do it.
If Ryan Gosling wins, there's gonna be so many BuzzFeed articles and
You-
Tumblr posts made
because he's a man that won.
because he's a man that won.
Well, I mean, let's see who, okay, actress in a leading role. Oh wait, did you say who you want / think, Jake?
I think Robert Downey will get it. I think he deserves it too. He did a wonderful role in that.
So both of them. Okay.
He's
Yeah,
not-
I think he
I
did
can't
too.
recall. I can't recall the last serious role he did.
The
It's
Judge.
not Marvel. That's a good movie. I have it on
That
my
Judge
folder.
was a great movie. It's on my
I was
Voodoo.
gonna say, I will say, like Robert, after his success with Marvel, I felt like he just did a bunch of movies for fun, and he didn't care whether they were good or not. And so after Iron Man,
Doolittle.
we had several movies of his who were just like, what is this guy doing? But again, if you're however rich he is with the
Mhm.
success of Iron Man, you can do
You
whatever
can do whatever you want.
don't
Yeah,
care.
absolutely. Okay, so yeah, I do hope for the best for Robert Downey Jr. because I feel like after being in the MCU for so long and not having won anything, like yeah, he probably deserves it. But I kind of am pulling for Ryan Gosling as well. Okay, actress in a leading role is Annette Bening in Niad, which I've never heard of this movie. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Ooh, mhm,
Sandra
mhm.
Huller for Anatomy of a Fall. Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
It's gonna be between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone.
I think so too. I actually
I
would
can't.
like.
I can't say who's gonna get it. To be honest, I'm stumped.
I really don't know who's going to get it either, but I'm kind of pulling for Lily Gladstone.
Me too. And also the fact that she was just fantastic originally when they were making the script for Killers of the Flower Moon. They were going to have the movie from the perspective of the FBI agent who's originally going to be played by Leonardo DiCaprio. But I'm glad they went this direction
Mhm.
with that relationship focus between Leonardo DiCaprio's character being the lover / sick dude, being manipulated by De
Robert
Niro's
Downey Jr.
character,
Yeah.
De Niro,
Yeah, sorry.
and Lily Gladstone's fantastic acting, and that some of the emotional scenes of when she learns of the death of her loved ones is out of this world. And
for me-
I think she'd be the first, I think, Native American, I believe, whether
win?
it's male or female or it's just female, to win an Oscar. So that I'm gearing for her win. So
I don't know. For me, yeah, she's a great actress, but I love her voice. Her voice to me is very soothing. I don't know if that's weird or not, but like I just loved hearing her talk.
no, I like listening to Keith Morrison of Dateline NBC. I wish
Yeah.
he'd read me bedtime stories.
It's like I wish you would read me bedtime stories. Honestly,
For real, you have
I'll
a
do it.
great voice, man.
I'll do it for free. I was gonna say a free, I was gonna say a fee, but
Yeah,
Sign me
I was
up.
like, dang, dude. I thought you were gonna charge me.
I honestly like, dude, if you ever got out of
Audible.
journalism, you could do
You can do audiobooks.
novel reading,
Mhm.
no
how do I
sweat.
I want to get into Audible.
You could,
We'll do some audiobooks, maybe read some children's stories, huh?
you could, man.
All right.
Children's stories.
Let's move on. Actress in a supporting role. We have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for also Naiad, and Devine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I guess that's the cafeteria lady from
Black gal.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's a tough one for me, but I think it should be Divine from the Holdovers.
I agree.
I think it will be Divine from the Holdovers. Why did I say it was going to be a tough one? I haven't seen The Color Purple. I haven't seen Barbara. I haven't seen Naiad, but I'm sure Jodie Foster is a fantastic actress. Emily Blunt, I don't really, I
I
can't praise
mean,
her for much of that from what I've seen. But I think between Foster and Divine, probably. I don't know who the other two gals are.
Emily was fantastic in
who? A
Emily
Quiet
Blunt
Place. A Quiet
in
Place.
The Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm kind of pulling for Emily Blunt, honestly. I did like Divine Joy Randolph. I do, and I don't like. I like America Ferrera in Superstore, and that's it. Like she was in Sisterhood of Traveling Pants and Ugly Betty, and I just don't care for America Ferrera.
Yeah, I just felt like Blunt had less screen time
Well, she did.
versus
She did
Divine.
versus the rest of these. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She totally had less screen time. But I like Emily Blunt. I just like her. She did a Mary Poppins Returns,
that's right.
which was she was really good in that. And then A Quiet Place, of course. Okay. Oh, Jake, did you say who you wanted or who you think might win?
I mean, the only one of those that I've seen was Oppenheimer, so I don't have very
Oh,
much information to
gotcha.
judge against. But Emily Blunt did. I I don't. She did a great job. I don't know if I would consider her for the best supporting actress in this.
It's
Okay.
like I feel like to consider someone seriously for winning an Oscar for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, we got to really remember a pivotal
I mean,
scene. I feel like
Like
which was something that
honestly,
was
between
very
Emily
that stood
Blunt
out.
and Florence Pugh, like I would almost have Florence Pugh
oh yeah.
in
If
this
Florence Pugh
position
was in
as
this,
opposed to Emily Blunt
yeah, if Florence Pugh was
because
in this, I would totally go for
M
her.
I'm
Pugh's
surprised.
Pugh's
Not.
representation in the role felt more impactful to me than
No,
Blunt's character.
I totally agree.
So so I have to say the only one of these that I've actually seen is Emily Blunt, but between all the other one, how amazing the rest of these actresses have done in these movies, the accolades that they've received,
Hmm.
I would probably say that it would probably go to like America Ferrera or Jodie Foster, one of the others, because
You might be
even
surprised. Yeah.
even being the only movie that I saw, I don't feel like she was a standout character in that film. She did a wonderful job. She's an incredible actress, but in terms of the impact of the film, I don't feel like she held up to being the best supporting actress.
Okay.
The only scene that really stood out for me with Emily Blunt was when Oppenheimer came home and she was
She was like
drunk or
drunk.
something, and like the kid was crying in the background. Like that was a nice little interaction.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't really remember too much from her role.
Hmm. Okay, let's move on. So we have animated feature film. So we have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, which I've never heard of, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I really
Spider-Man, of
want
course.
I want The Boy and the Heron all the way. Boy and the Heron. It's my pick. And I think that's
Nimona,
what
if Nimona is the movie I'm thinking of, it's a Netflix original. It is. It's a Netflix original animated series, and that has some very high accolades as well. Um, Basically, it's kind of this comedy of this knight who's been falsely accused of and is being haunted as a bad guy, and he gets an unwanted sidekick. She decides that he's the villain for her, and she's a shapeshifter, and she sets out to help him on his villainous ways, although he's not a villain. So it's a really fun story.
Hmm.
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's a pretty interesting animation style. It's cell shaded as well, like the Wind Waker cell
Yeah.
shaded.
Hmm.
So it's that kind of style of animation as well. Very expressive, very expressive.
So what do you think is going to win versus you guys who would prefer
I think
to
that
win?
I think Boy and the Heron's gonna win.
I could see Boy and the Heron running. I could also see with how many people have enjoyed Nimona. I've heard incredible reviews for her. I haven't seen it, But not only is it a have really great reviews, it is also LGBTQ like coded. So that also has the political kind of like political aspect. It's basically it's kind of like a story for like the representative like transgenderism or non-binary. So that political aspect could give it a huge leg in the race
Yeah.
for the Oscar.
Well, also Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, because this Spider-Man universe has won once already. So it's very possible that it could win again. But I really think it's going to be The Boy and the Heron, since it's Miyazaki's last film. But that doesn't mean it's going to win. I just hope it will. Okay, moving on.
All right.
What? What were you
Nothing.
gonna say? Oh, okay. Cinematography, we have El Conde, which I've never heard of. And then Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I think it's
Okay.
either going to be Killers of the Flower Moon. Oh no, you know what? I think it might be Poor Things. I think it might be Poor Things, only because the cinematography in that movie was so unique. Like, because the director used a lot of hand painted sets, like matte paintings and stuff, and it looked really great. So I think, and I would like for Poor Things to win as well. So that's my
That's on
choice
my
for
list to
both.
see in theaters, so I hope to see
Well,
it
you
soon.
can go see it next week, man. Next week, man.
I need to
Next
find
week,
I need to find
man.
out if the theater's doing. I need to find out if one of my theaters up here
They
is doing
are.
an Oscars thing.
They are.
You already
If you have
checked?
if you have a Cinemark thing, well, I'm just saying if you have Cinemark up there, they are for sure.
I don't think we do. I think we
Somebody's
just
got
have
to do
an
it. It's Fayetteville.
AMC's.
Yeah, it's Fayetteville. Okay, what about you, Zach? Anything
No, I'm not really strong about any of these, to be honest. But
as
I
far as
guess,
cinematography?
yeah, I'll just say Oppenheimer. I mean,
Okay.
Killers of the Flower Moon was a beautiful film as well, but I don't remember any creative, unique shots that I haven't seen before. But Oppenheimer was all around. I think combined with the sound was top of the line. But I'm sure Poor Things was excellent as well. So maybe Poor Things will win.
Yeah, I really hope it does. Like,
I hope Poor Things gets some love.
I do too, because like it was a really good movie, had some really good dialogue, I thought, and some really interesting conversations, right? Um, but also the set design was really great, cinematography was really great. Like it just looked like watching. I mean, I've said this before about other films, watching a painting, and then on top of that, you have Emma Stone naked throughout most of the movie. So it's like it's a win-win. You know what I mean?
The one problem I have with Poor Things is doesn't that really feed into the pedophilia of Hollywood in general? Because isn't I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but isn't like the brain of her from a baby,
Yeah,
right?
but
So it's essentially the mentality of like
well,
an
yes,
infant having sex.
but no, because she her
Yeah,
brain
she
grows
grows
up.
really quick and
Yeah,
matures super
that's what
duper
it is.
fast. But like, isn't that the same reasoning animes use for like the 1,000-year-old infantile child who has sex with dragons? Like
The
that's the
hell?
same kind
What are you
of
talking about?
thinking.
What anime are you referring to right now?
Every anime,
Oh,
every anime who has a prepubescent styled character who has sex, they're always like, "Oh, she's not a child. She's a goddess of another dimension, or she's a 2,000-year-old being. She just looks like a child."
yeah, but she in your argument they are older than they look. Uh she
She's older than
is
she looks. She looks older than she is.
or excuse me, they're younger than they look.
Yeah, but it's
Versus
still,
but she looks
but it,
older. She yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, for a lot of the movie she's like a kid, right? She can't she has problems speaking. Not speaking, but she talks like a baby up to a point where she starts experimenting with herself and eventually experimenting with other people. Um
In
I
other
don't know.
words, I'm Chris Hansen.
Why don't you have a seat? Why don't you have a seat? Anyway,
that's that's the
it isn't.
one.
No, it's a very interesting point that you bring up, Jake. I'd never thought of it like that. I don't care because one thing, I'm not a pedophile. Two, it's Emma Stone, and she's not actually a child. You know what I mean?
Let's
So,
get that
like,
in right. That's your quote for the night. One, I'm not a
one,
pedophile.
let me just go ahead and start with I have no restraining orders against me.
That was a dark turn.
Yeah, I know. It went sideways real fast, didn't it? All right, costume design. We have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I will think. Oh man, this is a good one. Screw Barbie.
Man, just from the trailers of what I've seen, I've got to say either Killers of the Flower Moon or Poor Things.
Yeah, I was gonna
Poor
say.
Things,
Go ahead.
Poor
I'm
Things
sorry.
was so fantastical, and Killers of the Flower Moon I felt was so historically accurate. Napoleon was close, I think, but they I feel like they it was probably just overshadowed by the rest of the movie. Whereas Killers of the Flower Moon and Poor Things, I feel like the costume design itself really played into
I
to
agree.
the effect of the movie.
Especially Emma Stone's, like everything she wore was very like, I don't know how to explain it, like elaborate, fancy, somewhat like very interesting type costume she wore.
Mhm.
But I also I think it will be Killers of the Flower Moon that wins.
Hmm.
I kind of would like Poor Things or Napoleon to win. Napoleon wasn't like, to me, it was a great looking movie. The costumes were actually really great in Napoleon. It was a little too long. Some parts are boring, like as far as the story goes.
And the dude
But
has an American accent.
yeah, that part, but
Just kidding.
that part didn't really bother me. I mean, yeah, there he's not French, whatever, but that didn't really. I
Yeah, he
actually
has an
it,
American accent. Meanwhile, the British also have like similar accents. It's like,
mhm.
come on, how do you differentiate the French from the enemy?
Yeah, I don't know. Like that part really didn't bother me. I actually did mind it because I could understand them,
Yeah,
and I didn't have to worry about either listening really closely or reading subtitles. Um, but anyway, what do you think, Zach?
not really bothered with any of them, but I think Killers of the Flower Moon is up there. I haven't seen Napoleon or Poor Things, but again, Poor Things sounds like it's a contender for many,
Many,
good contender, many
I
nominations here.
well, I think Poor Things is a good contender for many like visual
Visual.
Yeah.
nominations.
So
Yeah,
Yep.
because it was visually stunning. Like I really really like the look, but
who
I
knows? We might
really
be
also
surprised with Barbie.
yeah.
We
I
might be
mean,
surprised.
not saying the costuming was bad in Barbie. I just didn't care for the movie. So like to me,
Barbie's
I
I
all
don't.
think
about fashion.
Yeah,
like Barbie, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, they're all great, but none of the costume design stood out as one of the
no,
features that made the movie what it is.
yeah,
Whereas Killers of the Flower Moon and Poor Things, I think, do.
yeah. Well, Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, I agree that they did have good costume design, but I don't know. I just like to me, I don't know. I just feel like, well, no, I think it'll win. I think it will win mainly because it's just it's a Scorsese movie, whatever. But I'm kind of pulling for either Poor Things or Napoleon to me. But hey, I'm gonna rewatch them again. Maybe my tastes will change by the time Oscars comes around. All right, so next is directing. So we have Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. I'll start.
That's
Go ahead.
tough.
Yeah, I think it's either. I think it might be Chris. Might be. You know what? I think it might be more Scorsese that wins. But I haven't seen Anatomy of Fall or The Zone of Interest. And according to Zach, he really loves The Zone of Interest. So I don't know, but
So I
um,
learned something very interesting about the zone of interest, which I wasn't really interested in seeing it. But I've become interested in seeing it after Zach's glowing review and what I learned about how they made it. Because we've talked about this before. I get more interested in movies after I learn how they're made and the creative process. And I learned that for the zone of interest, all of the takes for that movie were an hour at a time, and each scene was all happening consecutively. So if they're in this house, the director had all of the actors do all of their scenes and live for an hour at a time with hidden cameras and hidden microphones, which they then used to like pick and choose and use the audio from. So
didn't
it
you?
makes it sound real and raw and like what a real house
Yeah.
and interactions are like.
So you sent something from that to our Facebook group, didn't you?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did. Because I started reading it and then I stopped. I think I was like halfway asleep when you sent it. I don't remember when you sent it
Yeah,
exactly.
they each scene that they did all the scenes. They did all the scenes, not coincidentally, at the same time.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it's a code word,
Concurrent,
but I can't think of it.
concurrently.
Concurrently. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did all the scenes concurrently, and they did all the scenes for an hour take. Each take was an hour long because
Wow.
that's the length that they had on the cards.
Hmm. That's interesting. It's
It's
That's an
interesting
unique.
for the
incredible
zone
way
of
to make a
interest.
film.
Okay, cool. I okay back
So
that
now I'm
does
gonna see
sound.
it.
Yeah, I did. Well, luckily I'm gonna go see it next week. So yeah, I think it's gonna be Killers of the Flower Moons, but I want it to be Poor Things.
Is it Scorsese and his final movie soon? It's gonna be about Hollywood. I feel like,
I think I might have. That sounds familiar.
or am I thinking about
Oh
Tarantino.
no, it's
Tarantino?
Tarantino.
Actually, my
Yeah,
bad. Yeah,
Tarantino's 10th and final film, I think, is what it
yeah.
said.
I feel like Scorsese's getting in there too.
No, he's
I
just
think
getting old.
Killers of the Flower Moon. It would be nice for Killers to get that recognition for
Mhm.
directorial work. It was just a lot of different elements and
Did
very
he win for
intricate.
Did he win for The Irishman?
I don't remember,
I don't remember either.
but it's probably going to go to Christopher Nolan.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I did like the way it was direct that Killers of the Flower Moon was directed. Um I'm excited to see it again in theaters.
I'd like to
Uh
see Jonathan Glazer win with the Zone
Zone
of
of
Interest,
Interest.
but I just don't know what the criteria is and how they view
Yeah. Hmm.
these things. But we'll see.
So, Jake, what do you think?
The easy picks are either Scorsese or Christopher Nolan. But
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel just for other names actually out there that one of the other three should get the award. I feel like a lot of Oscars, there are these repeating names that happen over and over and over, but
Right.
they're wonderful, they're great, but I think it would be good to see an unknown, as it were, or not as popular director get it. So I'm gonna go. I would like to see Jonathan Glazer for the Zone of Interest, or like Euros Lanthimos for Poor Things.
Yeah, like a non-blockbuster,
A
non-traditional
non-blockbuster.
blockbuster.
Exactly.
Jonathan
I think
Glazer.
Killers and Oppenheimer are easy. They're right. They're tentpole Hollywood get butts and seats films. But it would be very, very nice to see, I guess, kind of in the same vein, like Everything Everywhere last year was, where we get a director that is not as
Mhm.
well known.
Yeah, but they
Absolutely. And
make
I feel
it
like Zone of Interest was snubbed for best cinematography.
cinematography.
Absolutely. Which I'll
Okay.
talk about later.
So now we're on to documentary feature film. I mean, I'll read them off. I don't know who's going to win, and I don't know who I would want to win because I've never seen them. Um,
Nope. I've
but
seen one of them.
we have Bobby Wine, the People's President, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen one of them, the 20 Days of Mariupol. It's a city in Ukraine that was, devastated in the early days of Russia's invasion of the war. In fact, we just passed was it the second year mark on over the weekend, the 24th of February, since that invasion took place. So, but 20 Days of Mariupol is from the perspective of a documentarian who happens to be Ukrainian, and basically he's getting footage of the carnage that's happening around him in the city called Mariupol, as the Russians are closing in and shelling using airstrikes. And so a lot of the perspective is from like the people that are working in the hospitals, and the video that he shoots is from his perspective, and he's just getting interviews with people on the streets that are either staying or deciding to try to flee the city to safer areas of the country. And eventually he gets out, but just some very intense moments, footage that if you follow the news of Ukraine, and especially in the early days, you saw a lot of his footage being credited by news organizations around the world. And I mean, his footage is, without his insight and his viewpoint, we wouldn't have, seen some of the horrifying moments that the Ukrainian people had to go through. So I think that's, I mean, just we're talking politics. I think that could be up there just in terms of like current and relevant events. So as far as the other documentaries, feature films, I have not seen any of them, but I can really attest to my enjoyment of 20 Days, and that's available on YouTube for free.
I was about to ask where you saw
Wow.
it. Okay, that's cool.
Very good, very fantastic. I recommend it, even if you're not really familiar or with the whole Ukraine situation. But for someone that doesn't know anything, you really don't need to know much. You just watch this film about a guy that's Ukrainian and what the people of his country are going through. So it's well done.
Okay.
That's interesting. Was it made for YouTube or is it simply being released?
It was made for, I think it might have been for a different service, but it was ended up being posted on YouTube. I think PBS is where, at least in American, for American audiences, that's where we was first shown, was PBS. But then it was posted on YouTube.
Because that would be fascinating if it was a made for YouTube film. I wonder when, if or when documentaries or material that's made for these for services like YouTube would ever be considered. Because there are some really great documentaries that have been made on YouTube for YouTube.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if or when those that type of material will ever be considered for an Oscar nomination.
Expand the horizons for sure. Yeah, it was for on YouTube. It's called Frontline PBS, and Frontline has a lot of documentaries that are on the front lines of a conflict or a disaster. It has on YouTube, posted 3 months ago, 1.7 million views. It's from his name's Mastylov Chernov. I'll post it in the not the Discord, but the Facebook later.
That's
I'm
awesome.
used to saying Discord for when I'm playing video games.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Yeah, I'll watch it. I might try to watch a couple of these.
It's very depressing.
I need to I need to start watching like these documentary feature films at least, other
I
than
think
just
a challenge is for these documentaries.
They're hard to
they
find
need
sometimes.
Yeah, hard to find. It perhaps there needs to be better promotion, or we just got to be film nuts to really stay on top of when and where we could access these films.
Well, you
Like
know,
20 Days, I didn't even know was nominated for anything. I just happened to
see
come
it.
across it after I was listening to an NPR. I listened to NPR 89.1 here in San Antonio. That's just what I listened to, and they were
Okay.
doing an interview with the Ukrainian journalist. So that's how I learned about mini films and documentaries, is by listening to NPR.
Well, last year, I think around Christmas time, one of my friends from Austria came to Arkansas because she was a foreign exchange student back when she was a teenager, and we went to the movies. We went to eat, and then we went to the movie. Like we were like, "Well, you want to go to the movies?" And she was like, "Yeah." And it was like, I don't know, it was pretty late. Like I think it was like 10 o'clock, and we were looking at what to watch, and the only thing that was really interesting was this documentary and I'd never seen a documentary in theater, so I was really excited. And it's called After Death, and I kind of wish it would have been nominated because it was very interesting content, and it was very beautiful looking. The music was great. Like I even put the music on my Spotify playlist, and so it's just about people who have after death experiences. So they die, and
Yeah.
then they say they float above their body, and they watch
awesome.
things. So yeah, it's a really great documentary that I saw in theaters, and it was really cool to see it in theaters because I'd never seen a documentary in theaters.
Was it artistic in the way in terms of imagery? What
Yeah,
they,
yeah, it was really
okay.
cool. Like, because a lot of them they had said, oh, they went to heaven, and like a lot of them had went to heaven or something like heaven. It was very great. But then one guy was like, he's like, I didn't go to heaven. He's like, I went like I was. He basically said he was going to hell, but then he was revived. And I was like,
Oof.
and so just the way they portrayed that in the movie was really cool. So it was a great film if you haven't seen it. It's called After Death. It's really interesting stuff. And then
Seems like a mixture of like faith and secular
yeah,
ideologies.
totally, yeah.
That's
Okay,
fascinating.
yeah. Moving on. Documentary short film, which I haven't seen any of these, but we have the ABCs of book banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nine and WIPO. I don't know what that is, but The Barber of Little Rock, of course, takes place in Little Rock, so of course, we're all excited. I mean, I would love for that to win the Oscar.
So you haven't seen any of them?
I haven't seen the Barber of Little Rock yet. I haven't seen any of them, but I haven't seen the Barber of Little Rock because we're supposed to screen it at school. But I might just say screw it and watch it myself because it's only like 30 minutes long. It's a short
I'm guessing
documentary.
the guy that made it is from Arkansas, at least.
I don't
Or
know if the guy who made it is from Arkansas or the people, because just John Hoffman and Christine Turner. But the Barber's from Little Rock for sure.
cool. I
But
wonder if I've driven by his barber shop.
maybe you might have went over there. You got haircuts in Little Rock. You never know.
I went to South. Oh no, I think my guy moved to South of Maine after I left, but
Oh.
my barber was like downtown in this big tower.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just move on. But yeah, of course, I would like the Barber of Little Rock to win. The ABC's a book banning sounds interesting.
ABC's a book banning. Oh,
Yeah.
probably a lot of political
Yeah, but it still sounds
stuff for
interesting.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Next is film editing. We have
Yeah, I'm gonna
anatomy.
interrupt you, Justin.
Okay.
It looks like the Barber of Little Rock is available on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's on YouTube. Sorry, I guess I could have told you that. Yes, it's on
Well, you know,
YouTube.
even if our
Thank you.
audience,
Yeah.
wants to like watch any of this stuff or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
participate.
just go to YouTube.
YouTube and then go
Yeah, it's
type in the Barber of
posted
Little
by
Rock.
the New Yorker.
Yeah, it's only like a 30-minute. I think it's 28 minutes long or something like that.
This YouTube's telling me it's 34 minutes, but there might be ads or something.
Mhm.
Who knows?
Well,
And
it might
lots
just
of
be
nice
something from the New
nets.
Yorker.
Lots of nice nets. I've seen lots of news reporting packages on barbers.
Oh, yeah.
Better be
Okay.
better be some nice angles.
Okay, so let's move on. We have film editing with Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
I'm going to say The Holdovers because it tries to capture some elements of that 70s era
Film
of
editing?
filmmaking and editing. So I'm going to go for Holdovers for trying to be unique on that
Yeah,
front. And
I
it has the grain that has the audio mono-esque situation going on there. But overall, I think that there's that one shot of when Paul Giamatti's character, the professor, comes out while he's trying to search for Angus, and he's Angus, and it does like that zoom out, which is
yeah,
such a
yeah, that's what I was.
70s
Well, that's what I was thinking of. That part was
situation.
what I was thinking
Crash
of.
zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm gonna go with you as well with the Holdovers. I really would like to see that win. I don't know if it'll win. If I had to pick one that I think will win, it might be Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon.
What about Oppenheimer was like outstanding and something we haven't really seen before in terms of
Well,
editing? I'm asking serious.
I don't know, honestly. Like the only reason I say Oppenheimer is because it's Christopher Nolan. I think there really wasn't anything that stood out to me editing wise, though. Now with Killers of the Flower Moon, you know, he had those small like black and white segments or whatever, those like old school film segments that he had.
It's true.
Very very small, short little segments in the movie, but so that stood out to me as far as Killers goes. So I think maybe Killers might win, but I really would like to see the Holdovers win.
Well, I was gonna say, Zach, regarding Oppenheimer, they do use the cuts back and forth between present and memory as a very
true.
useful technique to tell.
That's a good point.
That would
There we
fall
go.
into the editing category.
Yeah, I feel like it's confusing for a lot of people though, but I guess it doesn't matter to the
To the Academy.
Academy.
Yeah. Okay, next we have international feature film. So we have, I don't know how to pronounce this, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say Io or Io Capitano from Italy, Perfect Days from Japan, which I've heard of Perfect Days. I've never seen it, but I do remember hearing about it. Society of the Snow from Spain, The Teacher's Lounge from Germany, and Zone of Interest from United Kingdom.
So last weekend, not this last weekend, but the previous weekend, so 2 weekends ago, I saw the Teacher's Lounge, and then I saw the Zone of Interest the following day, and both are
In
German.
theaters?
Yes.
Okay.
The Teacher's Lounge, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's basically exploring the societal clashes that happen in a school environment with a teacher that is dealing with accusations against her. Meanwhile, there are accusations against one of her students when it comes to stealing, and that student's mother, who also works at the school, accused of stealing. So it's a very claustrophobic film. I feel like maybe some Western audiences won't understand a lot of some of the cultural aspects of of Germany, as far as a lot of the immigration when it comes to Turkish populations, and some of the undertones of racism. But The Teacher's Lounge is a fantastic movie, and as I said, very claustrophobic, and it really ends in such a way that you don't really, there's not really a strict, definitive resolution. The score for that movie is fantastic. Again, it's German, so there's going to be subtitles. Okay, and then The Zone of Interest, it takes place during the days of World War II and Holocaust. There's a family that is trying to live their life on the other side of the Auschwitz concentration camp. And again, millions upon millions of Jewish people from Europe were killed as a result of Hitler's warped ideologies, who was the master race. But anyways, it's from the perspective of this family and this commander of the Auschwitz concentration camp. The way that the movie is shot is just immaculate, and the way that Jake described that the director goes about filming scenes and putting it together is wonderful as well. But for the first couple minutes, you're hearing this haunting yet heavenly type music go on, and it's 2 minutes of a black screen essentially, and it's made in a crescendos, and it's made to make the audience feel uncomfortable. I think it does it well, because a lot of even me, I was in the audience wondering, when are we going to get to the first actual scene after 2 minutes? We eventually get there, and the first scene is of this German family, a wide shot for another, I'd say at least a minute and 20 seconds, of this family playing along the river. And the audio the audio, you really can't hear so much, because it's as if someone's watching them basically from a far distance. And then the movie in general is just very well done. It displays the mundane activities of a Nazi family that's surrounded by the hells of World War II, whether they are naive, ignorant, or even supportive of what's going on the other side of the walls. So there's a garden, a beautiful garden, a pool, and throughout the film you hear gunshots, you hear the cries of people being killed at night. You see the skies turn into shades of red, the plumes of smoke coming out of the shafts, which indicates that the people are being killed and their ashes are being let out into the air. And the one moment, I'm going to wrap up, the one moment that we do have some sense of what's going on the other end of the wall with the father / the German, Rudolf Haas, I believe his name is, Rudolf Haas, of what he's doing on the other side for work. I mean, it's like a close-up shot of the commander, and you hear cries and gunshots. Other than that, we don't see the actual Jewish population of prisoners essentially being killed. But it creates that horror by just the sounds and activities happening around. And one last thing, what the Zone of Interest does well is, again, showing the mundane activities, people walking through houses, locking doors, going to sleep, and it's long sequences of this type of stuff. And that was the kind of the purpose, I think, for this film, was to show how this family was living, again, ignorant, naive, whatever it may be, and all this horror is happening around them. And it's one of my favorite movies. I think it's either number 2 or number 1 favorite movie of the year. So that was, again, as a big World War II history fan, it appealed to me very much. So Zone of Interest versus Teacher's Lounge, I'd rather see Zone of Interest again. I was going to see it last weekend, but I decided not to, so I got a refund. I was like too tired, but I'll see it again hopefully this weekend. We'll see. You're looking at a film that's artistically well done. Just pay attention to the shots and the use of sound. The soundtrack is fantastic, and we'll have to probably revisit that movie in discussion later, because just the way it ends too, with real images of the concentration camp, is fantastic.
Well, I don't think I can follow up that incredible.
Yeah,
review.
goodness gracious, Zach. Passionate, man. Not
Yeah,
not making fun of you, but like that was
the only film I've been passionate about this year.
That was an incredible.
I mean,
display of passion.
clearly you really loved it. So I'm really excited to see it next week.
I'm mad that the scores hasn't been released yet, but I've been on YouTube and Reddit trying to troll, see if there's
do you
any
look on
opportunity.
Spotify?
I've looked on Spotify, but it
Okay.
hasn't been released yet. But the score is just hauntingly well done. I guess there was Michael Levi who did the score. There was so much that wasn't used because the director didn't want to have that like overused in the film, where a lot of the dialogue and this the natural sounds of what was going on, or artificially natural sounds, was really carrying the film. And again, it made me want to, as a lot of movies do when it comes to historic events, to compare and what really happened and who these people were. So
All
it's
right.
one of the best films.
Man.
The acting's very natural too. I mean,
Okay.
again, I don't
Well,
know German acting. Maybe, but to me, it felt excellent. Again, English subtitles.
sure. Well, I don't think I can beat that. I think
So I'm just gonna move
we're
on.
very clear who you want to move on. I will
Yeah.
say though, in response to you, Zach, regarding you mentioned something about the teacher's lounge and that the culture aspects might be lost. I'm not sure that that's necessary for the definition of whether or not an international feature would win. Because if you guys remember, Parasite won Best Picture, um, not last year, but 2 years ago, I believe, 2022. Um, and that had a lot of culturally uh, specific material that played into that movie
Mm,
that you kind of had to understand. And that was like an interplay between, like, it was essentially the societal casts in that portion that you had to understand that made that movie work. And even without that being a widely known or maybe an easily understandable feature for a Western mindset, that's still won Best Picture. So I will say, in regards to that specific note of potentially missing out on the cultural aspects, that might be incorrect. But that being said, I can't argue against the passion you've shown for the zone of interest.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's the cultural society aspect. I guess I'm not saying it would be disqualifying, but I guess it'd be better for audiences to be more familiar. I guess to understand why certain things are happening.
It would add another layer.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of these movies, so I can't speak to them.
yeah. Just see zone of
But the zone
interest
of interest,
director.
the zone of interest sounds great now. Okay, next is makeup and hairstyling. We have Golda, which I remember that movie being advertised and it looked really cool. It has Helen Mirren in it. Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow, which is
Maestro.
a well, I'm interested. It's interesting that Society of the Snow is in there because it's like the only other. I mean, we haven't finished, but it's the only other. It's the only one that's a foreign film that's only other nomination is an international feature film. So it must have had good makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah, Golda and Maestro. They both had prosthetic noses utilized for the characters who are Jewish, which
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper got a lot of flack for. But
yeah,
the son of Leonard Bernstein, who the conductor Bradley Cooper portrays, was supportive and had no issue. But in Golda, was it Helen Mirren, right?
yeah. Helen Mirren.
She plays
She looked good
this
too.
this hero of sorts,
Hmm.
Israel, etc. And it didn't really look like her. But I feel like between Golda and Maestro, I've never seen Golda, but you have to see Maestro. I'm a big fan of classical music, but I'm hoping Maestro or Golda get it. I don't know anything about
I would go
the
with Poor
makeup
Things.
and hairstyling to Poor Things.
I would go with Poor Things. I liked Emma Stone's hair throughout the movie, even though a lot of times it was down. It was still like super long, super dark, just kind of like opposite of her like skin. I don't know. It was just I don't know. She looked good. I would probably want Poor Things to win. I think I like the idea of Golda winning as well, even though I haven't seen it. I do remember seeing it being advertised, and it looked cool. I just never got to see it.
I don't I don't know about that. I saw clips of Maestro, um, and I did not realize it was Bradley Cooper until
That
it
means
was
it's good.
pointed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was
I
like
just saw a clip of Maestro, and I did not realize. I think it was the climax of the film where he's actually conducting the masterpiece that he's written.
yeah,
And you can see the ecstasy on his face and material. But I did not even realize that A, it was Bradley Cooper. And then B, I was even surprised that that was kind of the role that Bradley Cooper would take because he's often, I guess you could say he's typecast in kind of like the more macho, like masculine or like wartime action hero type aspects of it. So I was surprised that he would even take a role like that. It was not a character that I saw him being in, and I certainly wasn't given any hints by the makeup.
He was also director of that film too.
So I would say
Cool.
Maestro would be in the running.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on Netflix, boys.
Oh,
You'll see it in
well, I'll
theaters.
see it in theaters, yeah. But that's cool. Okay. Next is music, original score. We have American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I think that it's going to be, I don't know, Oppenheimer's score was really good, or Indiana Jones, but I really would like Poor Things. Poor Things score is so awesome. It's so wonderful. I love that
How
score.
would you describe it?
It's very weird. Like it seems like it's being played with instruments you've never heard of. But it's a great score. I mean, it's just very like it's kind of digitally like not
Uh-huh.
synthesizer, but it's got like a digital feel to it. I don't know, it's just really weird and interesting. I would say my pick is Poor Things all the way. John Williams, um, or Ludwig Göransson, who does Oppenheimer. I would think those two are the probably the top contenders.
I was going to say Indiana Jones stands out to me for the mere fact that it's been kind of lambasted in every other aspect. So the fact that it's been nominated for an original score tells me that it must be really good because every other review I've heard of it has been less than savory, to
Well,
say
that's
the
just the movie. The score is always going to be good for Indiana Jones, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
he's not utilized, if he's just reusing the motifs of what we know already when it comes to Indiana Jones, that's
But
like,
that makes
okay,
me think if
cool.
he's reusing the motifs, why would it be nominated? Because
Well,
that is such tread ground.
but
Well,
he probably
there must be some new themes or
yeah, I was
something.
gonna say
I haven't seen the movie.
there's probably some new stuff. I mean, it's been what 10, 15, 20 years since the last one came out. I don't remember when Crystal's Kingdom of Crystal Skull came out, but it's been a while. So I would think that he's got something new in there. I would hope anyway, and
Yeah.
not just the normal score that we know.
I think something that's more experimental would be something like Oppenheimer, to be
Yeah,
honest.
Oppenheimer. I do remember thinking like through it because that score plays throughout pretty much the whole movie. Like there's really not. I mean, there are some quiet moments where there's no score, but it seemed like the score was just being played through the
Mhm.
whole movie.
And in Killers of the Flower Moon had a great score. It had that beat of the kind of the Native American drums going on throughout, which I appreciated. It was kind of a bit different than what we're used to when it comes to like scores, be like the synth and the symphonic classical that we're kind of used to in movies. So kind of utilizing that
Yeah,
the rhythm
that's
section
true.
of Native Americans to help build tension
Hmm.
at times throughout the movie. I think that was excellent. So again, it's been a while, but I remember those drums being played throughout.
Jake, did you say which one you think it might be, or which one you wanted? Yeah, I don't think you did. You just
I mean,
talked
I
about
spoke
Indiana
on
Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but you didn't say which one you wanted.
Um, Oppenheimer's music was pretty good. I don't know if it would be considered like for best original score though, and that's the only one that I've actually seen. So,
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, dude, y'all, if y'all get a chance to listen to the Poor Things score, it's on Spotify. Listen
well, I
to
want
it.
to
And
see it
tell
in
me what you think.
theaters. So,
Okay, yeah. If you're planning to
Be
see it in theaters,
surprised.
then yeah, I'll say if you're planning to see it in theaters, then wait. If you're not, just listen to it. It's a very interesting score. Okay, music, original song. We have "The Fire Inside" from Flamin' Hot. I don't know what movie it's from. Uh, maybe Flamin' Hot is the movie. Oh, you know what? That's that Cheetos movie, isn't it?
Yes,
Flamin'
it's on
Hot. Yeah,
Netflix. It's all right.
yeah,
oh yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about that.
Um, then we have I'm Just Ken. So never mind. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. It Never Went Away from American Symphony, which I've never heard of. And then we have Wazazi, a song for parentheses, a song for my people from Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm.
And What Was I Made For from Barbie, which is a Billie Eilish movie or song. I'm all about I'm Just Ken. Honestly,
That's gotten a
I
lot
mean,
of
he won a
press for
Grammy
sure.
for that, didn't he? Or he
I
won
don't know.
a
I don't know. I don't know.
He won something.
Yeah, I don't know.
He did.
But I
Yeah.
bet you I wonder if he's gonna perform it at the Oscars.
He's probably nervous about
That'd
having
be
to do that.
hilarious. But yeah, I'll go with I'm Just Kidding. Now I don't I feel like I don't know about the Fire Inside. I didn't see the Flamin' Hot, but
Ryan will perform. I'm just kidding. The 2024 Oscars.
Regardless.
oh heck yeah,
He is. He is performing.
Or he wins or
That's-
not.
yeah. Well, even if he wins, yeah, even if they contracted him to.
If he
Getting
wins,
paid.
most definitely.
Getting paid, hopefully.
Okay. So, do you guys have any ideas on
I'm hoping
original
it
song?
goes to Killers of the Flower Moons, A Song for My People, just
Yeah.
because it's different. I don't know
I don't care
about The
for
Fire Inside. I don't know
yeah.
about and Never Went Away.
I
I
don't
haven't
care
seen
for Billie
Barbie.
Eilish. Yeah. But let me
I
just say,
want I'm just kidding for the sheer irony.
I mean, seriously, yeah. And it's just Ryan Gosling, dude. Like
It's for the memes.
he like I think
And you know he wrote that himself. Like that was not a scripted song. He came up with that himself, and the director loved it so much they put it in.
that's funny. Yeah, I've only ever seen him in really like a bunch of dramatic roles, you know.
Yeah.
So to see him in Barbie was awesome. Okay.
I listened to NPR, and again, once again, the NPR guy. But they were talking about the lyrics, the creation of the lyrics for the Barbie music, and it was just very fascinating. And the fact that they are talking about this in the news, like the emphasis on the music makes me think that Barbie is going to
Will
have
win. Yeah.
recognition for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Okay. Next, we'll go to production design. We have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I'm going with Poor Things. That's my
Yeah, I don't
pick.
know.
I would have to agree just by the trailers.
Yeah, I just it's just the production design is so wonderful. It's so great. It looks Here's the thing about it. It looks like a fake set, but it doesn't it to me it didn't take me out of it. I thought it looked great even though it's clearly like it's
It's
almost like he
like
did
it's
it on
clearly
purpose.
fantastical.
Yeah,
Like nothing
it's
looks
just
real. Like
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's clearly a set, right? And I don't know, it just to me it looked great. It would look like being in a diorama, or being like in a toy set. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you had like a little toy city in front of you,
Like
you were
Barbie or something,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
it did.
yeah,
It
exactly.
felt very much like you were in like a little playhouse, like a doll
Exactly.
playhouse.
That's what it seemed to me. And to me that was like, I don't know, to me I loved it. Like I loved it was like I'd been shrunk and I'm watching this little doll run around and have sex with everybody, you know? It just So anyway, so I don't know, I'm going with Poor Things. What do you guys think?
Sure, I'll go with Poor Things.
I would
So
have to say
over.
Poor Things as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's one we all agree on. Okay, next is I'll try to kind of go through it. We do have a few more to go, so we'll kind of blow through some of these other ones. Next is animated short film Letter to a Pig, 95 senses, our uniform, Pachyderm, and War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. So I'm gonna see these all next week, right before the Oscars, actually. So I'm excited because I love, like I was telling Zach while you were eating, Jake, is one thing I really enjoy about watching all these movies is seeing all the short films. And
I came
I'm
in on that. It's like consecutive back to back.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
you're
it was
saying.
really neat. And then next is live action short film, the After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and the Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is on Netflix. It's a Wes Anderson film. I'm excited to see that in theaters. I love me some Wes Anderson. Okay, next is sound. So we have The Creator, which I do remember that movie coming out, but I didn't see it. Maestro, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, interesting. Oppenheimer and Zone of Interest. If I had to pick, I'd go with Oppenheimer. I think the sound in that movie, sound design was, especially when the bomb like exploded, thought it was great.
Yeah, Oppenheimer probably, but my little love for Zone of Interest.
No, we don't. Tell us again.
I don't think there was. It's a different type. The sound design in the Zone of Interest is as bombastic as
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
yeah.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'll give credit. I enjoyed the movie, but just another action flick that has excellent sound effects and
Top Gun,
explosions and gunshots.
Top Gun won last year. You never know.
Yeah,
And that's
I
another
just feel
Tom Cruise
I
movie.
feel like this is just another shoehorn because, okay, like with the audio, with the score with Indiana Jones. I sadly feel like this is like we don't have enough to choose from. We're just going to put Mission Impossible in there as a contender.
I don't know, man.
That's how I view it.
I think those action films probably have some of the best sound design because they literally have to make sure there is a sound for everything. And like there's so much going on at once in like quick succession that it's interesting, like to to understand what goes into making that sound design. And it seems like like for Top Gun, they had to create sounds for those jets and stuff. It sounded great. I don't know. Maybe Mission Impossible will win. No, I haven't
There
seen
you
it,
go.
but it's an action film. So I'm hoping, I'm thinking that because it's an action film, explosions and, I think I saw him ride a dirt bike off a cliff. You know what I mean? Like stuff like
It's
that.
just
Like,
it's not original though. I mean,
no, it's
Oppenheimer
not.
you
I
had
mean,
a lot more like
I,
the unique visuals blended with the sound or lack thereof at times with the bomb at but a lot of the bombing bits you don't hear much of
well,
anything going on. So you hear some intense breathing, which is probably the good sound in that moment.
Well, I do think Oppenheimer will win, but it's just interesting, I guess, to me that Mission Impossible's in there because Top Gun
Yeah.
was also in last year and it won. So I don't know.
I
We'll see what
believe
happens.
Top Gun deserved it. I mean, how many
Yeah, no,
movies do we have? How many good movies do we have these days that take place majority of the time
in the
in the
air.
air
Yeah,
with real planes?
yeah, that's true. Okay, let's move on. Well, I don't know. Jake, did you have an opinion on sound? Sorry,
I don't have too much of an opinion. I agree Mission Impossible feels kind of weird on this.
and I
I
think
feel
that
like the
might be why
creator or the maestro would be probably more apt considering
it's a be about
just
music.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Visual effects. We have the creator, Godzilla minus one, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is interesting. Oh, look at that. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1, and Napoleon. I'm all for Godzilla minus one. Like, I don't even want to try to pick who I think might win. I just want Godzilla to win.
Well, I think the creator is going to win. I will say I am an opinionated on this one.
Okay.
Have you guys heard of of how they made the creator and the VFX behind that?
No.
So the creator pretty much used a new uh they used a new technique for this film where they did not apply any green screen mocap or VFX dots on any of the characters
Hmm.
or the actors and actresses in this film. And then later decided who was going to be a robot and who was not. A lot of what they did, and there are scenes in the movie that they went and filmed real families, filmed real people and situations, which then they used to turn into like they turned some of the characters into robots. So they used the ground breaking techniques to turn those people into robots. And they achieved a more naturalistic
Hmm.
visual aspect between relationships between people and the way that the robots acted and did things because they weren't people acting as robots. They were just people being people. And they then went in and replaced them. But they didn't make any of the effects. They didn't do any of the pre-production work that you normally associate with actors or VFX replacement. And so they used a brand new technique on that. So I think the creator for that effort and like the forging of the river alone, going through new aspects, will probably win.
Yeah, and Gareth Edwards, correct, was the director of this movie. I believe he directed Rogue One, and there's a lot of talk and buzz surrounding the budget for the creator, like 80 million, I think.
Well, I mean, if they had to replace people without any like green screen or VFX,
Yeah,
or I mean, by VFX, I mean any of the pre-production like dots or mocap or things like that. Yeah, I can imagine that would wrapped up. That would create quite the budget.
yeah, I enjoyed the creator. Some pacing issues, some moments where it felt like scenes were cut short, and you could tell that there were cuts. So I'm looking forward to maybe a extended edition or a deleted scene version to see what the would have been like with these additional scenes. But I'm a big fan of Gareth Edwards. I just wish he got more accolades or recognition by people in general. But visually stunning film for sure. Good, one of the better sci-fi films I've seen in recent years.
All right. Well,
So I think the creator will win. I wish that Godzilla would win because that's just a fantastic film.
yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna even pick a. I think this one will win. It's Godzilla all the way. I
My
gotta,
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta stick with it. Okay, now we're gonna go into. We're almost done. We have 3 more categories left. Writing, adapted screenplay. We have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Uh, I will hope for Poor Things. Um, but I do think American Fiction had a interesting and funny concept that I think it could possibly win. I haven't seen it yet, but I do remember seeing the trailer a couple times, and it was kind of funny to watch. I think it could win, but I'm always down because like the writing in Poor Things, I just like the conversations that she had because she was learning. She was learning about the world and all this stuff, so she'd ask a lot of questions and like they were really interesting questions. So I think there's a lot of great conversations in it that um, I think it should. I would love to see it win.
There's some magic about Poor Things, even though I haven't seen it. So I'll say Poor Things as well for our best adapted screenplay.
Um, I think I'd have to go with probably with Oppenheimer. This one isn't who I want to win. I feel like they did a really good job turning that kind of biography into a really engaging film. So Poor Things, I think, has the uniqueness to it, but I think it's just in terms of pure adaptation from, and I'm not like
The
unlike
book.
you, like Zach, you're a history buff. You would enjoy that thing innately. For someone like me who's not particularly interested in history or reading historical biographies or things like that, and having a screenplay and a movie made about a character who I otherwise would probably not delve into myself, and be very interested in that movie, where I would not have taken the time to read about them, I think is very well done, and I think deserving of having an award.
That's great
Okay,
reasoning.
cool.
Excellent.
Next is original screenplay. We have Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, which I've never heard of. Well, I have heard of. I just haven't seen it, and Past Lives. I
Tough.
guess considering the only movie I've seen out of this is The Holdovers, I would like that to win because I did it. I really enjoyed it. But I will see Anatomy of the Fall, Maestro, and Past Lives in theaters, so that could change by next
Hmm.
week. So that's the only one I could because that's the only one I've seen.
No May December.
No, because I'd never seen it, and it's not in theaters, so I'd have to go. I have to go and watch it, which isn't. I mean, I guess I could if it's easily accessible. If I don't have to pay for it, like pay for it to rent it, unless it's because some of those movies when they're brand new and you try to rent them, they're still like $20, and it's just like ugh. So Past Lives
Not even,
did
yeah,
look really good.
fantastic film.
Yeah, it did look really good. I remember thinking I need to go see this in theaters, and I never got to. And I'm really glad it was nominated for Best Picture because now I get the opportunity to go see it.
It's one of the best romantic dramas I've seen.
What about you, Zach?
I'm hoping The Holdovers
Yeah, I agree.
wins Best Original Screenplay.
And
I think if anything, Holdovers could win Best Original Screenplay if it comes down to it. But
okay, it was a
other
great
than
film.
the Best Actor,
What about you, Jakey Wakey, Eggs and Bacon?
I don't have strong opinions on this one.
Okay, we can
I
move
really
on.
don't.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, we have Best Picture, which we have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. I guess
This
Poor
one's hard.
Things would be my pick to win. Now, the one I think is going to win, I think it's between Oppenheimer and Barbie, honestly.
imagine if Barbie wins. There's going to be so much uproar, a lot of support, but there's going to be a lot of what the
Yeah,
WTF
I mean, I
That
did not.
almost that almost seems
upset.
to make it more likely that it would win
Yeah,
by causing
exactly.
an uproar.
Yeah, because they think it might. But I honestly like, and I was talking about this movie today at work, and somebody had said they hadn't seen Barbie yet because one of my students is wearing a Barbie hoodie, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I really like your hoodie." And then they started talking about. It. I was like, the movie to me, I didn't really find like that good. I didn't like. I could go the rest of my life without seeing it again. Of course, I'm going to see it again next week, but there wasn't anything about it that I was like, oh my god, this movie's so great. You know what I mean? So
Which one again? I'm sorry.
Barbie,
Barbie. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we take a look at the most recent, prominent award ceremony. BAFTAs. Oppenheimer won Best Film. I think it's going to be Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the. I mean, I just only reason I really go with Barbie is just because of Barbieheimer. What did they call it? A Barbieheimer?
Barbenheimer.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
Barbenheimer. Um, just because of that. That's the only reason why I think it could go between those two. If I had to really, really pick, I think it probably will be Oppenheimer. What do
Yeah,
you,
I
Jake?
don't want to think too much about it. I think it's going to be Oppenheimer.
I think it's tough. All
Yeah,
these films are so
I mean,
so good.
good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen. I've only seen five. I've seen Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And they were all great. Like they're all great films. Well, besides Barbie,
Mhm.
Barbie's the lowest to me on the totem pole of movies I've seen that are nominated for Best Picture.
And we've lost all of our female audience.
I don't know, man. It's not it has nothing to do with that whole issue about it. I just didn't care for the story. you know, I mean, there were funny moments in it.
I
Don't
think
get me
that's
wrong.
fair.
Yeah, there were funny moments in it. There were really funny moments. You know, Ryan Gosling was great. Margot Robbie's a wonderful actress. Like, there's nothing wrong with Margot Robbie. Just didn't care for the story. I don't know.
I
Just
will say,
I did like the
as
twist in the
far
movie. Go ahead.
as far as movies made essentially from product placement, Barbie
Barbie's probably up
does
there. Yeah.
Barbie does shine above the rest, and I think that goes to state the care and passion that Margot Robbie put into it, because she was a producer for this as well as the leading
Actress.
actress, and that really shows. I think it's the same reason that shows such as like Loki shine in the current Marvel run, because Tom Hiddleston is a producer for that show, and he is personally attached. He cares about the quality of it, not just as an actor, but as an actual producer, someone making that film.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Margot Robbie was a producer in this and that she cared so much about it, I think goes to show the quality, or it lends itself to the quality that the film was, as opposed to just being a product placement film like the Emoji Movie, or
Ugh.
Battleship, or any of the other ones, or G.I. Joe, or any other ones that have come out that are clearly attempts to make product,
Sure.
sales.
Yeah.
So
I
I
would.
will say in that regard, Barbie's a much better movie because she
Yeah.
cared about it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Like a movie made straight from a toy. Like, yeah, it's great in that regard. But as far as it standing up against all these other films that even the ones I haven't seen, even like Zone of Interest, but just because of what Zach said, I'm like, this movie to me is already better than Barbie.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we could be surprised,
Yeah,
perhaps,
Barbie
but
might win, and
just looking at the
great.
trend, let's look at the trends of other award
hmm
shows. It tends
Shows.
to follow in line with what they've
Yeah,
done. But who knows? Again, we've been surprised with films like a lot of the foreign
like
films, foreign
Parasite.
to American audiences, those type of films winning, and so it would be nice to have something more less blockbustery win, not for the sake of it, but just because it might get people more interested to dig deeper than just the top two movies that's playing at their theaters.
All right, that's all of them. I think this is going to be an extra long episode. Either that, or we might split it into two parts. I haven't decided. Because I mean, and I'm not complaining or anything. I think with episodes like this, we need to make sure we talk about everything.
It's got to be robust.
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, we might be a little tired right now, but you know what? It comes with the job.
The alcohol
Does
helps.
doesn't help.
I was like,
That's
I
why.
don't know about
It
that.
helps
That's
with the
I'm on the
conversation.
struggle
Yeah.
bus right now.
It
That's
got the
why I
thoughts
didn't.
flowing.
That's why I didn't drink more than one of these, because I knew I'd be like Jake and be like, "Oh, hey guys, let's talk about." I'd be like, "Screw Barbie," you know. Anyway,
Well,
I did say
yeah,
screw Barbie actually,
Sam was helpful tonight, though.
but old Sam. All right, cool.
Thank you,
Well,
Wally World.
no, we're not being sponsored by Wally World, but if Wally World would like to sponsor us, we would take their money.
Hey,
Um,
Walton, come at us.
anyway, so let's we'll wrap it up there. That was a great conversation, guys. And like I said, it might be an extra long episode or a two-parter, probably extra long episode. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for the Oscars. And I haven't decided if I want to throw an Oscars party yet. I probably won't. because everybody left early when I threw the last one last year, and I don't want to do that
That's sad.
again. Yeah, because everybody had to work the next day.
Sure.
Yeah,
Lame.
I might just watch it by myself or something. I don't know. But anyway,
Oscars playing on ABC, I believe.
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do was say when the Oscars was playing. ABC at what 7 o'clock or something. I don't. Dang it, I had it pulled up and I don't know what I did with it. Dang, I wanted to talk about the scientific and technical awards and the governor's awards, but that's okay. We won't talk about them. Anyway, so if you like the Oscars, Sunday, March 10th, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ABC. So, it's like my Super Bowl. It's the Oscars. Like I would much rather watch the Oscars than the Super Bowl. So anyway, any last thoughts, gentlemen, before we end this episode?
Zone of interest, holdovers.
Yeah,
love.
yeah. You're man. I
You
don't
got your
think
favorites.
I don't think I've ever seen you as passionate for a movie. Honestly, like as Zone of Interest, I don't think I've ever seen you
Has it piqued your
talk about it.
interest?
Yeah, I mean, it piqued my interest when you said you need to go see Zone of Interest the first
Again,
time.
you don't need to be a history buff. Just appreciate the
No, it's a-
artistic
yeah, you don't have to be-
visual of the movie.
You don't have to be a history buff to watch any movie unless it's a documentary, and even then, you're learning. So it's not like you can go out of it knowing more than you went into it. But yeah, it doesn't history. I mean,
It's
the boy
a
in the striped
depressing
pajamas.
film.
It kind of reminds me of a little bit of the boy in the striped pajamas about this family who the guy who the patriarch of the family also runs this concentration camp in which his son gets inadvertently put into. I mean, spoiler alert, he goes into the concentration camp, his son does at the end of the movie. So that's a
Does he
wonderful
die?
movie. Yeah, he dies. He gets gassed.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a wonderful movie though. Even though I just told you the ending, you should still watch it. It's still a great movie. So, all right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for listening to this extra long Oscars episode. I don't know if it's extra long, but it feels like it's going to be extra long. So that's what she said. And so it might be extra long. But thanks for listening. If you have any ideas for episodes for us, or you just want to say hello, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and check us out anywhere you get your podcast. And I'm going to, since Jake looks very intently it looks like he's busy. I'm gonna say it. Have a fantastic day.
Have a fantastic day.
And hang on, let me get my stop recording button ready. All right, and bye.